Here we go. All right. Took me a long second, but we got it. We got it going. Had some sound difficulties there for a moment. Very irritating. All right, but we are going to ignore the obvious, which is that the game went down to the wire, and instead, we're going to just look at everybody's stuff individually. You know, bits and pieces, because after all, we can only take so much out of the preseason. You know, a game where Victor Wembanyama only gave us, what, 17 minutes of action? And in those 17 minutes, it was heinous. You know, so there's that. What's up, Logic? He said, when the Utah Jazz play, it says the gods flip a coin to see if Keontae George is efficient or not. That's the one. That's the one. I want Ace to take like 18 shots, bro. Yeah, well, you know, he squeezed out 20 in the end. I don't even like looking at this box score. I really just look at it because of the convenience of looking at it right here. Well, we didn't lose the first quarter as bad as I thought we did. Second quarter, though, 25-38, 13-point swing. Third and fourth quarter don't really mean much of anything, but, you know, they were there. And then overtime. Interesting. Taylor Hendricks 15. How efficient was this? I actually don't remember these off the top of my head. 4 of 11. That's why I don't remember. Yeah, he didn't hit a 3. Ugh. But he was 7 of 7 from the free throw line, which, if memory serves me right, overall we were much improved. Damn. 34 for 37? I knew Brett Sensabaugh got a lot, but golly, brother. Him and Taylor Hendricks combined for 19 for 19. Yeah, that's pretty nice. He didn't hit many threes, yeah. 2 of 8. Yeah, overall, not terrible. Not terrible. We've definitely had worse. He said, no one's super efficient from the floor. Most of the game, the thing keeping us away was Bryce going for 12 of 12. Yeah. Hit the nail on the head with that one. I mean, overall, I'm not too, shall we say, not even displeased. Overall, it wasn't a bad game. I'm pretty content with how things went. Not very surprised, all things considered, though. Let me move myself up here. I'll go to the top of the screen. Oh, my headset. Ooh. All right. What are our biggest takeaways from this one? 7 steals was good to see. Who had 7? Dang. Wait. Oh, that's assist. I'm slow. Oh, team wise, yeah. I thought you were about to say somebody individually. I was about to say I did not catch that. More plays drawn up to Ace, please. I think we're going to see a lot more, especially once the regular season actually gets underway. Overall, the 13 shots that he got was pleasing. 2 of 5 from 3, not bad at all. Hit both of his free throws. 7 boards, 2 of them being offensive. Was cute. Only 1 assist, but that's okay. 2 steals, only 2 turnovers. That was the biggest one. I think for Ace Bailey, the thing that determines a lot for me, at the very least, watching his development this season is going to be how, number 1, what his shot diet is, and number 2, how efficient he can be. Because, obviously, his shot diet, how efficient he can be, and number 3 would be how turnover proof is he. If he's turnover prone, well, we have a couple guys like that on the roster already. And their turnovers get in the way of us truly being able to appreciate what they could potentially do. But if he can keep it to like 2, and he's playing like 34 minutes a night, 34 minutes a night, and he only has two turnovers. He played 38, almost 39 minutes, only had 2 turnovers, right? 13 shot attempts. That's nice. I wanted to make a Bryce joke, but he didn't shoot very well today. I was going to say not as nice as Bryce, but, you know, still nice. Dude, Victor Wembanyama is going to be a problem, dude. What do you mean 6 of 10 from the field, right? He was 1 of 4 from 3, but he was 9 of 10 from the free throw line in under 16 minutes of action. He had 22, 7, and 3 in 6 and 15 and a half minutes of action. Golly. Yeah, old man Harrison Barnes clinging on. Oh, 5 from 3. Oh, man, I love that. I don't actually love that. It's just funny. Playing with Keontae full time? No, it's really hard for me to really harp on. Dang, they went 17 players. They went 16 players deep. Yeah. This is the preseason, all right. Holy. Only 3 people play more than 20 minutes. All right, back to business as usual. He said no one could stop him in the most came during the second quarter when we went down 17. Yeah. Victor Wembanyama, man, as a player, he's just nice. He's just nice, man. Khalil Ware, that matchup where with him, where Victor played him on the Heat last time around was very interesting. It was very telling. I didn't realize. I knew Khalil Ware was smooth, but I didn't realize how nice he actually was. And fluid with the way he plays. He's got a lot more Victor Wembanyama in him than anybody's willing to give him credit for. What's good, Dallin? Just the Jazz that suck at defense is just an NBA thing. It's a bit of both. I'll say 2 things, right? If we were going full starters the entire game, this is probably a we'll say like 108, 112 maybe for the Spurs, and like 98 points for us. Like we don't clear 100 against this Spurs team with Victor playing the full game. But with a healthy Walker Kessler, healthy Larry Markkinen, we also don't end up giving up 134. Not to this particular Spurs team, not to this iteration of the Spurs team, at least. But yeah, we're definitely a bad defensive team. There's no way around that. And I don't see any major reasons to believe that we're going to see things change. Part of it is just going to be like the use of Nurkic. Offensively, he was pretty solid in this one. Not as perfect as he was last game because that's literally impossible. But 5 of 9, 2 of 3 from 3, 4 boards, 2 assists, only 1 turnover, 12 points in 18 minutes of action. It didn't do much for us, right? But it was nice to see. I said it before, I'll say it again. I want to see some Mo Bamba minutes. I feel like that's the whole point of us having him on here because I don't even know if we're going to go into the regular season with him on the roster. So I feel like now would be the perfect opportunity to just like throw the dog a bone because Yusuf Nurkic is providing resistance at the rim, especially not against Victor Wembanyama. What are we talking about? No. I mean, we're in an interesting place. I'll say that. He said, I think the NBA is just doomed unless we get to see if Kessler comes back and changes even slightly. It's gonna be interesting. If Wemby and Thompson could team up championship. Dude. Hold on, wait. My brain didn't even process. We didn't see Stephon Castle in this one. That just completely went over my head while I was watching the game. Dude. All right. They have Kelly Olynyk now? That's crazy. Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, Jeremy Sohan. Dude, three of their most dangerous pieces are injured. And they dropped 134. Keldon Johnson. Realistically, Harrison Barnes has no business starting, dude. Like none. In the most respectful way possible, because he's definitely a respected veteran. He's definitely, done stuff. But nah. Dude, you have Dylan Harper off the bench come regular season time. Devin Vassell will be coming off the bench. Champagne, he might be starting. No, he's not. He's definitely not starting. When everybody's healthy, no, he's not starting. dude, they're so stacked, bro. I don't want to play the Spurs in the regular season. They're gonna show us what a real rebuild looks like, and they're gonna force it on us. We're not gonna be able to say no. We're gonna say stop, please. They're not going to. Mm-mm. Ooh, that's a good question. Presentation or how's it going, my guy? You said when are we playing our Australia team? I'm not sure. That would, I think the NBA scheduling like international games against international teams is one of the best things for obviously the NBA brand, but also just like to see how basketball has changed on a global stage. I think it's really interesting to see. I don't remember what the other team was. There was one game in Australia. I can't remember who the team was that played down there when I was watching that game. But it was interesting watching the two styles clash and the two pedigrees of players clash. Obviously, it's not night and day like if they went to China, but I mean, it was night and day enough to see like there's some very interesting nuances that really caught on there that don't really catch on over here as easy. And there's certain like styles of play that were just more interesting to see with them. But it's just fun. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just like seeing a bunch of guys just roll the ball out and hoop. He said, I say this, I'm not too down on our defense as we could be good if players buy in and put effort to make up for the downsides. Definitely. Neither does Keontae, but we're starting him right now. He can get Black Magic and keep all year healthy. Dude, we had to do something. It was, thank you. It was the Pelicans. Because I was watching Zion Williamson. Yes. Thank you for that. Taylor does impress me from his injury. Yes, dude. Being able to 34 minutes of action in this one, he played substantial minutes in the first game back too. But just seeing him on the court is so nice, dude. And in this one, he didn't shoot terrifically from 3-point range, but it's not as if he can't because again, 7 for 7 from the free throw line. You can't be phenomenal. You can't be great at free throws and not be able to shoot at all. That's just not how shooting a basketball works. That's not how it works. It'll get better with time. I realized in game 1 he took a lot of threes that he hit from the left wing. So I wonder if he's better from the wings than he is from the corner. Maybe it's a depth perception thing. I've seen that before. I don't know. Out of everyone, let me see. Bryce, I want to say yeah, actually. Yeah. David Jones Garcia started frying us too. I forgot about that. 6 of 13 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3, but 8 of 9 from the free throw line. Put up 20. Nasty work. Dude, I don't want to see Victor Wembanyama in the regular season. I don't want to see a healthy Spurs team in the regular season. Like I'd rather we play literally almost anybody else. I was about to sit there and say the Thunder, and I was like, well, who would I rather not play? It's like I'd rather play almost everybody else except for a healthy San Antonio Spurs team. I don't want to play the Spurs because, like, they're just too well constructed and they have too many anomaly pieces. Like, the sheer number of things that would have to go wrong when we play against the Spurs in the regular season at full health for us to be able to, like, not lose by borderline 30 is, I don't know. I actually don't know. Being a Spurs fan must be so fun. Man, it must be fun. Goodness gracious. It looks like we can trade Kevin Love. It's a possibility, but it doesn't seem like it's at the front of everybody's minds. Like, I think we've reached a point where everybody's content starting the season with him on the roster. And if something that they like materializes, then by all means. But until something that we like materializes, we're not just going to sit there and buy him out. So for now, it looks like he's just going to be just vibing out. Key is effective still. Almost got a triple-double. I dislike Svi. He doesn't unless we're getting killed. Svi's just a guy. He's just a filler guy. There's always that one random dude that just like, I feel like Svi is a really, really good practice player. Like, he's not a great player compared to a lot of other guys on the roster or just across the league. But he's one of those guys that always practices well, always has a good showing, and in the game he never does too much or too little. Like he's just there on the court. He's one of those guys. Like 2 of 2 from the field, hit his 1 3. He only had 2 shot attempts. He played almost 18 minutes, only had 2 shot attempts. So, and he hit both of them. So we can't be like, oh man, he was 0 of 2. He really didn't do anything. No, he hit both of his shots. We just didn't feed him the ball to get him more shot attempts. He had 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 turnovers. He was just, for lack of better phrasing, out there. And it's like, it's not a terrible, like the box score plus minus is misleading because a lot of his minutes overlapped with Victor Wembanyama tearing our anal cavity open. But he's one of those guys where he's just there, and like we grade people, like we hold Keontae. There's a standard in our heads that we hold Keontae George to. There's no standard for Svi. It's just like, don't mess up the game. Like don't get in the way. Like don't get in the way. That's literally what pops into my head. Like, not to say that he's not a good player because he's not a bad player. He's just a player, if that makes sense. He said, if we're going to get killed, let Bryce make it interesting at least. Yeah. Man, I'm so glad that he's actually like emerging. Like the fact that like the sheer number of times that we'll see a player like come out of the woodworks, showcase they can play really good NBA minutes. And then as the season transitions into the next and every team has new tape on this guy, they know what his tendencies are. Now he's neutralized and he can't hoop anymore. The fact that we're seeing Bryce Sensabaugh, even though it's still in the preseason, still with medium comfort, get buckets is really, really encouraging. And it shows you it wasn't a fluke. And one guy, he said, he drives the tank. He drives the tank. He is driving the tank. Don't want Svi and Keontae on the floor together ever again after the last 7 minutes of the second quarter. Hey, that's how the tanking works. You throw out one lineup that's absolutely egregious, and while other players look competent and everybody as a whole isn't bad, you can't get fined because you did put 5 guys out there on the floor and you can justify playing them. Playing them together, the league doesn't have any like hard rules on that. How can you prove I'm tanking when I put Svi and Keontae on the court? How can you tell I want to lose? Are you going to call them ass? The commissioner can't do that. Whatever department handles the fines and just looks over that stuff, they can't prove that. Say, because we'll just have Svi go in the gym and just rattle off 83 straight and shoot like an 85% clip because there's nobody putting a hand in his face. Tell me this guy can't play on the NBA court. Tell me why I can't start him. Why can't I? For lack, it works. Unfortunately, the logic is sound, even though we know exactly what it is. No winning team is going to start Svi. No team that wants to play winning basketball is going to start Svi. Unless you have LeBron, Luka, Kevin Durant. Give me a 5-man that just dunks. You could go another star. The only team that could start Svi is a team that has like 3 stars because they just need somebody that's reliable, efficient, almost Grayson Allen-esque. He's gonna shoot his threes. He's not gonna complain when he only has 2 shots a game. He's not gonna complain when you up him to 8 shots a game, right? He's gonna take the damage when you swing the ball to him in the corner and he goes 2 for 8 one game. He's going to take that on the chin, and when all the fans are bashing him online, he's not going to say, oh, man, he's not going to defend himself. He's going to let it happen, right? He's a great fall guy. He's a terrific fall guy. But unfortunately, that's all he is. Shout out him, though. Shout out the guy. Oh, I got you. Let me see. Starting lineup is either Key, Collier, Ace, Lowry, Hendricks, Kessler. Oh, I got you. But overall, just to touch on everybody's numbers since we already did Svi. We did Taylor. We did Yusuf. Ace Bailey update. 8 of 13 from the field in 39 minutes of action. You know, that 205, that 40% from three. Hit both of his free throws, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 turnovers. He did have 4 personal fouls, but we don't really care about those right now. We're going to gloss over that. Keontae George, interesting one. 4 of 11, but he was 2 of 5 from 3. So that means, what's that, 2 of 6? Yeah, 2 of 6 inside the arc. Weird game. 2 of 4 from the free throw line as well. He did have 9 rebounds, 8 assists, though. 1 steal, only 3 turnovers, which is big for him. But again, we lost in the minutes that he was on the floor, and defensively, there's work to be done there. Slow-mo, that boy Kyle Anderson, 14 minutes even, 0-4 from the field, missed both of his threes, had 1 rebound, had 4 assists, had no turnovers though. Dang, he had the highest, no, he had the second highest box score plus minus, okay. At a 0, third best. Taylor Hendricks was a +1 in 34 minutes? How was it? I'm gonna have to look back and see how his minutes were staggered. To end up with a +1 despite playing literally 2/3 of the game? No, they're almost 75% of the game. Okay. All right. Interesting. Cody Williams. Damn. What? So what quarter did he... Hold on. 23, box score plus minus. So most of his minutes had to be third quarter minutes, right? 23 positive is crazy. Which means his minutes probably also coincided with Taylor Hendricks and likely Walter Clayton Jr., right? They had to. So Slow-Mo was probably on the court for part of that time, considering he played 14 and had a straight goose egg. But who's the other person? It can't be Nurkic. I refuse to believe it's Nurkic. Weird. Weird. I don't know how I didn't peep that earlier. But yeah, that 4 of 8, 1 of 3 from 3, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, though. 4 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, no turnovers, 12 points. Cody Williams had a solid game. Defensively, he wasn't terrible either. So if he can replicate this, I'm not going to say he can guarantee himself long-term minutes, but it will definitely... this type of game is a flawless game for him from what we've seen recently. It's not... How do you say? Obviously, like, if we saw... Well, if I saw Keontae George do this, I wouldn't be mad at him, considering what we've seen of him lately. I don't know. This is just a really good game for Cody Williams, considering what we've seen from him before and how unreliable he's been, and kind of, I would love to say up and down his play's been, but we know he's had a lot of games where he just wasn't hitting the mark, more than the ones that he was hitting the mark. Also, obviously, you got to appreciate Bryce Sensabaugh, despite his 2 of 8 performance from beyond the arc. That 12 of 12 is incredible. Only had 1 assist, so you know he's a scoring punch guy. No boards at all, which was interesting, but he did have 2 steals, only 1 turnover. 26 points, leading both teams in scoring in just 27 minutes of action. Interesting. Okay. Kevin Love played 16 minutes, 2 of 2, both of them being 3-pointers. Also hit both of his free throws, 3 boards, no turnovers. Did have 5 personal fouls. That's in 15 minutes of action. It's really, really interesting for him. 8 points. Walter Clayton Jr. had a solid game. I'm going to call this a solid game for him. 6 of 12 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3. Not great, but last game he was 1 of 7, so I guess you can consider this a step in the right direction. I think we're going to have to refine his 3-point shot diet. Even though I don't hate the shots that he's taking, he's just taking too many and he's not hitting them. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta do something there. He was 6 of 6 from the free throw line, so this will inevitably not be regular. Obviously, those 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, only 2 turnovers was definitely nice, definitely reliable. And he scored 20 and had a box score plus minus of a +9, which was second highest on the team. So despite this 2 of 7, this was, again, a really, really good showing for him. That 5, I'm watching his assist count going forward because, like I said, I don't buy Keontae George being the viable point guard replacement for Isaiah Collier. If anybody's going to take Isaiah Collier's point guard role during the season, it's going to be Walter Clayton Jr. I don't see anybody else being capable of doing it. And then John Tonje, we saw him for, all of 4 minutes. But it was nice to see him touch the NBA floor. I'm fond of him. But yeah. Oh, that's why. Yes, logic logic is right. For some reason one of my mods ended up switching my name to that. Yeah. I gotta switch it back. Need more energy and hustle on defense for Ace after tonight offensively. Not worried currently. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Cody Williams needs to go if he doesn't show anything this year. He has to have a lot more. Like, this has to be a baseline game. Like, this is the worst game we can see from him. 50% from the field, 33% from three-point range, hitting, 75, preferably 80+% of his free throws, right? If he only has a game where he has 2 free throws, he needs both of those free throws, right? He can't afford to give away free points. And then 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. One thing he's going to have to make sure he keeps down, which for the most part, he's not bad at it, is his turnovers. Because if he has a lot of turnovers, there's no reason to keep him around. If you don't shoot very, very well and you're turnover prone, you're a double negative. And in basketball, that double negative does not equal a positive. You're just ass. You're just bad at the game. But yeah, today was pretty smooth for him. Yeah, but horrible from 3 in the clutch. I think is wrong about Bryce. He's not Seth Curry. He's bigger, slower. CJ McCollum. I didn't realize he could get to the line like that. CJ McCollum. That's an interesting one. I like that. I actually like that. Yeah, I see where you're going from there. He gave me the vibes of Chris Middleton, though his shot diet is a little bit different. And I actually forgot that one poster he had in the first preseason game because it's just so uncharacteristic of him to do. The fact that he decided to go in and take that was actually really crazy. But he went right to the rim and just put that thing down. And I forget sometimes how sneaky athletic he can be, because usually sneaky athletic isn't the line or the description, I guess, that you would give for certain types of players, but he kind of falls into that role because his shot diet, when you think Bryce Sensabaugh, you think threes. Literally, he took 8 out of his 13 shots. That means only 5 of his shot attempts were not threes. That means at the rim layups. That means, mid-range, anything inside the three-point line only amounted to 5 total shot attempts. And then he had 8 3-pointers. So when you think about him, you think threes, right? So when he's going downhill and he's going at the basket and he's attacking the rim, you see some really, really nice things happen. But you don't think about the athleticism that also goes into that. But it's definitely there. And one phrase that really comes to mind when I think about Bryce Sensabaugh and just some guys when it comes to their hidden talent, so to speak, it's like the absence of evidence does not mean it's the evidence of absence. So just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Dare I say, it might be further proof that it must be there. And in his case, it shows through sometimes. What's worse about our bad shooting is we somehow were more efficient than the Spurs. Unfortunately, you're damn right. They took 6 more shots than us and made 3 more. Yeah, yes, that's the one. That is the one. It's crazy because, 2 years ago, me looking at this box score, I say, dang, that's a lot of points. But now I just look at it, I'm like, I recognize, like, within context, the shot diet that it takes to end up putting up like a scoreboard like this, as ridiculous as that sounds. You know, Bryce a bucket for sure. Wait until next year to care. No, I understand that, Jackson. Much better. Obviously, he's a much better defender. Chris Middleton is one of those guys that will always be disrespected, and nobody will really appreciate how great of a player he's been. He's like who some people think Jaylen Brown is. Chris Middleton is who a lot of people, especially Boston fans, think Jaylen Brown is. And I'm not going to take that back. I thought, should I back up off of that point? No, I'm not going to. Yeah. It's just that Chris Middleton doesn't have great PR. He's not he's not handsome, right? So you can't really put him on camera, and he doesn't have any crazy qualities that you can maximize from, being in a small market area, and now he's on the Wizards now, isn't he? So, I mean, you went from being Giannis's sidekick to getting thrown into purgatory. But yeah, offensively specific. Is where Bryce Sensabaugh reminds me of him. Now, if he could give me 60% of Chris Middleton defense, good God, I'd love that. But I feel like that's definitely a bit much. I just need him to be, if you're going to be a negative, just don't be heinous. Just don't be like, if you become a blow by merchant, you can't play. I actually don't want to see that, because I remember in the olden days, back when you had Donovan Mitchell and you had Rudy Gobert protecting the paint, it was an acceptable thing to get blown by on the perimeter because Rudy was at the rim. And I get it. Rudy's a terrible offensive player. I get it. He has cinder blocks for hands. But we're not going to sit here and just let free runs to the rim. Dude, make somebody work, please. And if we're going to be competent with the roster composition of players that we have currently, plus a couple more additions, and then just waiting for everybody to get, progressively better with time and with shot attempts and with minutes in actual games, we can't. No, we have to try and be good defenders, right? You don't have to be great, but the effort has to show there. If you just sometimes you play a guy like a Kyrie, you know what I'm saying? Kyrie's, to me, always and forever will be the most skilled offensive player the NBA has ever seen. And I say that because if you take Kyrie's bag, his handles, his shot-making ability, the type of shots that he decides to take, the moves that he decides to make when he's being defended, and you put those, and you just made that computerized model, and you put it in somebody who's 6'8", you're talking about the GOAT. You put it in KD's body. KD is already disgusting. But a lot of the reason why KD is able to be as good as he is because he's ridiculously tall and nimble. If you take KD's bag and put it in somebody 6'6", you're not looking at him like, oh my gosh, he's so tough. If you put Kyrie's bag in Joel Embiid's body and don't make him glass, Shaq would have a brain aneurysm. So, like, you have moments where, like, Kyrie, no matter how good you play defense, it will never be enough. You just have to hope he sweat a little bit too much on that play. You have guys like Luka where they're not going to blow by you, but they're going to get you on your back foot. They're going to catch you off guard sometimes. They're going to put you in jail, and you just got to live and die with those possessions, right? You just got to give me some effort. You got to show me you're trying out there. If you're on somebody's highlight reel, at least look good, man. Don't just sit there and get fried. That's crazy. Now you're immortalized on this person's tape forever. Imagine every time somebody plays a specific highlight, you're in it, and for all the wrong reasons. Like that's not what you want to do. I don't care if you're a rookie. I don't care if you're an 8-year vet. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that experience. That's disgusting. Mad when Keontae missed that poster. Oh, for sure. I'm gonna add you because Tyson, I think I have you individually on Discord actually, so I'm gonna send it to you on there. Middleton, get it. I wasn't trying to call him ugly, but he's not necessarily a looker. He can hoop. He can hoop. Now there's definitely some ugly NBA players. I don't know if I'm gonna put him there. He would make a fire accountant though. Like if we were making a movie, Chris Middleton would make a great. Hold on, let me make sure I'm not bugging. Hold on. A little bit off the beaten path, I know, but I just think it's a little. Yeah, like that's a. He could definitely be somebody's accountant in a movie for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out Chris Middleton, man. That boy can hoop. He said, if we ever get the chance to trade for Jalen Brown, I take that deal right. Take a deal right away. If the deal is right, for sure, for sure, for sure. Jalen Brown is really about to be tested this year too. We're gonna see how good of a player he is individually. Can he? I don't think he can ever be a number one option on a championship caliber team, but we're gonna see, is he a 2A 1B hybrid, or is he just a 2A 2B? Because with no Jason Tatum, he is the functioning like hub of the offense. So we're gonna see how tight his handle is, how much of a left hand he does or doesn't have. I'll never forget those memes. Everybody used to fry him. He was literally they would sit there and say, "Hey, how do we stop him?" The person was, and they would show the meme with the one guy stepping and just open it up to the left side. Just let him have it because he can't dribble that way. I mean, you know, he's a really good player. His skill set, like I said, Cooper Flag to me in his best moments is extremely similar to Jalen Brown. But I don't think you can lean your entire franchise and expect him alone to be your god, your savior in that situation. But any team would be crazy not to take him on, except for that $300 million contract. I will. You can't convince me Jalen Brown is worth $300 million, right? Conference Finals MVP, Finals MVP. He earned both of those, but you can't convince me, right? We're talking $300 million. I mean, he's probably worth more. He's probably owed more of that $300 million than the team owner is, because I couldn't even tell you who the team owner is, right? But at the same time, when you say 300 million, dude, somebody got 300 million in a contract. I'm thinking rings. I'm thinking plural. I'm thinking that the clock winds down. I put the ball in his hands. Everybody starts. The other team, their knees start shaking. Everybody in the crowd, they stand up. They're anticipating something crazy. I don't think that when I think Jalen Brown, right? Great player. $100 million contract for sure. 125 for sure. 300 million. 300 million. I wonder how much guys like KD have made in their career. Because like they've made a lot, but 300 million is a lot of M's. A lot of M's. Player empowerment, man. Let me hold. I would love to be somebody's agent. Oh my goodness, that'd be so fun. Just let me get like, I don't even need a full 1% of your contract, right? Because if you make 300 million, that means what? My brain is quitting on me so bad right now. Yeah, 1% will be 3 M's. I don't need $3 million. Give me half a percent. Let me hold 1.5 million. I can make 1.5 million go a long way. That'd be nice. The accountant starring Chris Middleton somehow becomes a basketball movie. That'd be fire. Ethan, what's good, my guy? My impression of Jalen Brown is that he would be the best. He would be best with an all-star point guard like Doncic or Kyrie. I think of him like Jimmy Butler with less. Ooh, yo, why microwave? You might have just did something there. Jimmy Butler with a little bit less of a handle. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. The defense is there. The shot selection is also there. I'm not gonna lie. That's a really that's smooth. That's definitely smooth. I'm impressed. Bought Jazz Plus and got free tickets to the NBA Cup game versus Thunder. Ooh, that's smooth. That's gonna be a game too. That's definitely gonna be a game. Walt Lake City, yes sir, yes sir. But overall, man, You know, aside from the absolutely atrocious defense that was played on both sides, because we just decided, you know what, F it, I'll take a, I'll shoot a shot, then you shoot a shot. I'll shoot a shot, then you shoot a shot. Um, it was pretty smooth. I think it's time we go ahead and start and just add like three more teams to the league. Was Ace forcing any shots tonight? No, not really. He only had 13 shot attempts, which technically would ties him for the lead on the team. But it was a within the flow of the offense type of 13, and only 5 of them ended up being 3-pointers. Hit 2 of them. He was 2 of 2 from the free throw line. So all the shot making requirements were there, and I mean, 13 shots on 61, almost 62% shooting, terrific, right? 7 boards, 2 of them being offensive. He had 1 assist. He had 2 steals and only 2 turnovers. And this was in 38, 39 minutes of action. So anytime you can only have that many as a rookie in an NBA game, granted, it is still preseason, I get it, but like, that's really freaking good. 39 minutes of action, 62% shooting, only 2 turnovers. That's great. That's it doesn't get better than that. The only thing better than that is literally no turnovers. Like, that's the only thing better. Because if you have 1 turnover, if you play 39 minutes and you have anywhere from 1 to 3 turnovers, I look at it the exact same. So you either have to have 0 or 4 for me to change my perception. Be like, he kind of turned the ball over a little bit today, which is crazy to say because the sheer number of offensive possessions you have to have, and then you just sit there and you only miss, like, there was 86. What? Let me see. Turnovers. There was 11 turnovers, 86 shot attempts. So effectively, there was probably 97 overall offensive possessions, right? And in that way, if we sit here and we say he played, that's basically 100 offensive. That's basically 100 offensive possessions, and he played 80% of the game, right? That means out of 80 offensive possessions, only 15 of them, that's less than what? That's less than 20%. That's like 14%-ish. 13 shot attempts, 2 turnovers, 15. Yeah. Yeah, just about. That's like 1/6, 1/7. So, I mean, that's 1/7. So, basically, he refused to turn the ball over. He was hyper efficient. And it's like, even if he had 4 turnovers, that would still be the case, but I would just look at it different because it's 4. And 4 is close to 5, which rounds up to 10. You know, it's one of those things, I guess. But yeah, definitely smooth. Definitely smooth. Loving the picks we got this year. Thoughts on Tanjay? I want to see more Tanjay minutes. I don't know if we're going to, considering the makeup of our roster. And we kind of have, with Cody Williams, we have to decide what we're going to do with him, right? Because right now, it looks like it was a waste of a draft pick. It looks like he was not the guy that we needed him to be. But it's like, okay, can we make him look good enough to trade him and get something back so we can kind of, not be in the negative? And that way we could take a risk on somebody else. Because to me, Tanjay deserves Cody Williams type minutes where he has an opportunity to just showcase what he is, right? And then we grade him based on what he does. Because I don't think that there's a guaranteed mold for him right now on this particular roster or somebody's spot that he can realistically take at the current moment. Because he either just doesn't have the resume behind him to justify it or to justify trying out that role. And also just because we're so deep at so many positions that he would play. Those are the 2 biggest things about me. But I definitely love the opportunity to see him do some more. I trust Walter Clayton to make improvement from threes faster than Keontae looking at the free throw attempts to makes from the 2 tonight, for sure. And just in general, in general, like if you watch some Walter Clayton Jr. college highlights, Keontae George wasn't moving like that in college. And granted, Walter Clayton Jr. is an older guy in college. He had all his eligibility used up. The boy could flat out shoot the rock. Like, if Walter Clayton Jr. spent an entire year shooting like either of the previous seasons that Keontae George had, I would say we need to go ahead and ship him out. He's a G League player. That's what I would say. Because there's no way him coming out of college doesn't pan out and end up shooting ridiculously smooth. And I'm inclined to believe like he still shot 50% from the field, even though he was 2 of 7 from three, right? And you can say, okay, so we're gonna put a limit on him, right? We want him during the course of the game. I only want you to find 5 threes that you really like, right? So maybe you take one in the first quarter, you pass up on a couple of them. Second quarter, you take another one. All right, that's 2. Second half, third quarter, you see 3 you just can't let go. You hit 2 out of 3 of them. All right, so now we're 2 for 5. Is coach gonna let it slide if I take this next one that looks really good? And let's say he misses it, right? Now he's 2 of 6. He's like, dang, I kind of need it. And he has another nice attempt, right, in the fourth quarter. You could argue he should take that attempt because it looks good and he has the tape behind him to justify us knowing he can shoot the ball. So if he goes 2 for 7, he's not going to go 2 for 7 every time. Dare I say, I think he's more likely to go 5 for 7 this season, like in regular season games, than 2 for 7. I don't even think he's going to get 10 plus shot attempts during the regular season games for the most part. But if he did on a consistent basis, I believe in him going 4 for 7 way more than I think he's going to go 1 of 7 or 2 of 7, just because of what I've seen from his college tape. And again, it is just college tape, but because considering how Walter Clayton Jr. centric the offense was for his roster at the time, I'm inclined to believe that he can do it again where he's not the main focus point. You said only 11 turnovers felt worse than that tonight. Yeah, it did. But I mean, it was a fast game for the most part, and that just the sheer number of shot attempts and how many we hit on both sides, 47, literally both hitting 48% of shot attempts is a disgustingly high number, right? And maybe it's time we dilute the league. I have an idea. I don't want to say it just yet. We're gonna sit on that. It did, which is why we had Victor take 2 threes and a long rebound twice in one possession. Thought it was like double that for turnovers. Yeah, I could see that. Cody's on a shoestring budget right now, man. It's almost over. Kyle Anderson's jumper's ass. Yeah, slow. They call him slow mo for a reason, and that every time he shoots, it makes me sad. Every time. I think Cody will be gone in a year or 2. Ace is so much better than him and fills his role so much better. Yeah. Cody's clock is ticking, and it's not looking very good. Here's the thing with Keontae is that at 50% from the line tonight, 2 of 4 is what Walter Clayton is 6 of 6. Yeah. Cody going in plus 23 is a wild compared to the rest of the team. Then again, most of his time spent in second and third string in the second half. Yeah. And then when you also take into account the fact that the Spurs played none of their starters more than 21 minutes. Devin Vassell had 21, almost 22 minutes. Everybody else played 17 minutes, and then you had boom, 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 all the way to the 16th man. Mika Potter. I wonder what it was like. I wonder what the vibes were like seeing some of your old teammates. Most random pull. What the heck? Bismack Biyombo still in the league? Oh my goodness, brother. Holy cow. I don't care about. Of course, Jaylen Brown pops up on my screen. I'm looking at Bismack Biyombo. Dude, chill. Goodness gracious. What the heck? That's wild. He's been playing games too. I'm sorry, that was the most random thing to like jump to. I just used to watch that guy growing up. He was just there. He was just there. You know? I don't know. I think during the regular season we're gonna test Bryce out as a starter for a few games because we have to decide whether he's going to be our spark plug off the bench or if he can consistently produce like that against grade A talent. If he can't do it, right, that's fine. It's perfectly fine. He's just gonna be that 6th man. He's going to be the best 6th man we could possibly have because Keontae George isn't there yet. But at the same time, it would be a little bit of a letdown because I kind of would love to see him just go crazy. But if he comes off the bench and he can give you 30 off the bench, you're gonna stay in the league for a very long time, right? Because everybody needs scoring. And if everybody knows you're about a bucket and you don't complain, you're not a locker room cancer, you don't start anything with anybody, yeah, guys are gonna want you out there. Guys are gonna want you to come hoop. He said solid box score plus minus first half two. Not sure why. It's mind boggling. Collier, Bryce, Ace, Lowry, Kessler, Walt, Key, Taylor, Flip, Nurkic. Oh dear God, I hated reading that second part of that list. Unfortunately, I could see it working out that way. Biombo minutes in OT is crazy work, though. Walter Clayton over Keontae. He got a block and steal tonight. Only to put Keontae in on the clutch for some reason. He can't be that good. He can't be good all game, only at the end. You raise a good point there. Milton being an account is the most random tangent in the stream. Yeah. That's probably me saying that he has less than favorable looks. Definitely, it does go on the board. So games. You raise a good point there. I can't combat that. I can't combat that. You got it. I cannot combat that. Dang. What the heck? Dude. Cody Williams has to make something shake this year. Keontae George has to make something shake this year. I love what Keontae George did in the offseason, but we have to see the best version of Keontae George. The way Walker Kessler took a step forward last year is the way we need to see Keontae George standing on business this year. Because if he doesn't, expiring rookie contract too, for sure. It's been fun, buddy. But I think that he's going to take that step forward. I haven't seen enough yet, but I think he will. I like to think so. The Hornets didn't play today. I was about to say, what did my GOAT do? Oh, they play tomorrow. I'm going to watch that game. Cooper Flag. I'm going to watch that game. But yeah. Either Keontae goes off this year or mid-season trade. My concern is that if the Jazz do too good and they send out Bryce, that would piss me off very badly. Oh my goodness, yes, that would piss me off bad. I don't want to see us do what we did that last time when we were good in the regular season. Like trading Bryce would piss me off to another level, because like this is one of those rosters where like, I think if you're playing really, really well, because we saw that year when we had Fontecchio and them, we accidentally were a good team. But it was also it was also us watching Will Hardy experiment in real time with different guys on the court. And no matter who we put on the court, they would play good basketball. I don't think that there's a world where we end up doing that here, but I feel like individually there might be enough guys to like force Cody Williams minutes, right? Imagine Cody Williams just has really rough practice in the games. When he plays minutes, he doesn't really play well. I could see him playing more minutes just to make sure we lose the game. Like I could see the way we used to see him play in some clutch situations last season was absolutely ludicrous. He had no business being on the court, yet somehow he still found a way out there. I think that we could see a world where you see some Yusuf Nurkic closing minutes in a game. I almost said Keontae George. Of course we're going to see Keontae George closing a game. Cody Williams minutes. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see Kyle Anderson shoot a shot when we need an offensive bucket. Why? Your guess is as good as mine. But we all know what the end goal is, right? To tank. Could see us benching him with a toe injury. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. Still have him then. Yeah. Bryce is ours. I think he's locked in. Nurkic for his shooting. Nurkic is low key a dog. There was a time when I was rather fond of Nurkic. That time has passed, and his lack of effort uh, defensively leaves a lot to be desired. The best thing for Nurkic now is to teach Walker Kessler how to be potent offensively. I think that is his main goal. I think that is his only goal. I think that is what we need out of him. If he can do that, you won't hear an argument out of me. That's the only thing I need out of him. If I have to watch Cody Williams sub for Ace the last 5 minutes of every game, I'm going to be pissed. We can't have Ace Bailey rattling off 10 in the last 2 minutes when we're down 6. You know better than that. We're not allowed to win games. Finding out that last season was the worst season, or from a win-loss viewpoint for the Jazz all time, was actually kind of funny. And then seeing that it just still didn't yield a top 3 pick. But we got Ace Bailey. Shout out to Omar, because he was terrible at his job. You know, Ace is gonna like it here. He's gonna like it here. He already does, kind of, but we're gonna make sure he loves it here. That's all we need to worry about. But yeah, didn't want to keep you boys too long. I know we've been kicking it. I think we went a little bit longer today. I think we've been about an hour, I want to say. But yeah, when is our next game? What are we looking at? Monday? Okay. Monday. Oh, there is only 4 preseason games. I don't know why I thought there was 6. No, we can make it happen, though. You said, I don't see us trading Kevin Love. He's probably going to be the best for the locker room during these tough times. You raise a very good point there, Logic. His energy is necessary in a lot of ways. For sure. But yeah, I will catch you boys Monday night, most likely, unless something absolutely crazy happens. I think this will be a very interesting learning experience, seeing Ace Bailey and Cooper Flag on the court together against each other, as well as just seeing some quality minutes at the very beginning of the game before crazy subs get made. So I'm looking forward to that one. Out of all the preseason games, I think that was the one that was going to be the most important for me to watch. So we'll check in at the end of that one. Probably go live like 10, 15 minutes after the game concludes so I can get all my stuff together. If Ace turns out how he's looking so far, I can't complain at how bad our tank job went. I'm inclined to agree with you. As much as I hate tanking, he might be one of those ones. Ace is the hope right now. I'm for keeping Kevin Love as he can guide them through the worst times and the best. I agree. But I appreciate you boys tuning in. As always, it's been fun. Good morning, good evening, and good night, no matter where you're on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.